Well, that's a pretty clear comparison between what was and what is. That can only handle 450 foot-pounds of torque. This can handle 1,400. It's the oil that got to it first. And you can tell that by the darker pattern on the center of the rings. There was oil coming from the center and then going on its way out. And it started ruining the discs from the flywheel most side. Well, we just took the E-shaft nut off, and look at the culprit. There's oil just running. It looks truly like alien blood. There's oil running out behind it. That's our culprit for oil in the bell housing. And then got to the next one. My work at trying to clean it up from the last time wasn't enough for the last disc or last two discs, and then they start spinning. That was covered in oil at one point, but that's more of a glaze. You can see it right there. Look at how blue. It's beautiful. I heat treated these. So we were putting in, what do you want to say, 1,300 horsepower? It's going to be roughly around there. So there was 1,000 horsepower going into these discs. This is a pristine brand new one. That's the one that actually I bought from OfferUp. This is from some lady in Rancho Cucamonga. So thank you, ma'am, for having this random ass clutch that happened to be mine that you stole. That one is going back into the car right now. We are also going to do something a little less orthodox by replacing the lightest flywheel we have with something a little heavier. And by heavier, that's really subjective because this is actually still considered a light flywheel. One of the things I wanted to do was make this engine a little bit more predictable. It already accelerates faster than most motorcycles. I don't need this. I want this, I don't need this. Maybe someday when I get injectors closer to the engine, but that rotational mass difference doesn't make much of a difference, and any benefit we can get from this of making the engine a little bit more stable, I want. There's the new flywheel. She is ready. The forbidden bullet plug. Last disc. Mostly together. Meet you on the bottom side. So there's a real big trick to this, is slowly tightening it, because otherwise you can't get your butt plug back out. That's not fun. These wires were just sitting on there for testing, but we're gonna have to push these out of the way when we go to install the bell housing. A little bit at a time on all the way around. Oh, we got it evenly and consistently onto the flywheel. This can come in and out easily. There you go, there's 26. Clutch is installed. The heaviest part of all of this is actually this, a billet piece of steel. I'll make sure nothing is connected. This is where you pinch wires. Just gently set it on the positioning pins. Somebody last time put it on, it actually crushed a wire and shorted out the ECU. Go ahead and start bolting it in. There's one that has a different thread. I've not worked out in a while. There you go. We're gonna have to put it in gear. Pull it hard towards the back. Just so the audience knows, this thing's not light.
Right there? Okay. There we go.
Wow, that was way too easy. You can't simply blame the clutch on this. The oil is certainly a huge problem with this disc. We tried resurfacing it, but it slipped a lot. And as you can tell, while I'm driving the car, it slipped a lot. So here is another solution that I am very willing to try. It's gonna cost me probably $5,000 at the end of the day to do this for such a subtle change, but it is so worth it. This is why I am cracking up. I hated this thing with a passion. I did not want this, and it's becoming one of my favorite parts of the car. The rear differential is a quick change. I bought even higher gear set. So it is a 4.1 rear diff, meaning 4.1 spins in equals 1 spin out. This quick change lets you modify that. What we're gonna do is actually change it to where it's 5.1, which is not a magic random number. It's coming from this car. The rear diff on this is a 5.13, and that's what we're gonna do here. Positive, this is 60 bucks. I can try different ratios, and in fact, if I wanted to do 300 miles an hour, flop them, swap them, and we've got a really highly geared rear end. The problem is up here. This is a BMW 188 millimeter rear. That comes from the E36 series. That's out of a Z3M. 3.64, 3.46. BMW never had a reason to make a 5.13. That was not an option for that series. The transmissions were geared so that the highest that they even offered, I think it was a 4.1, and that is sadly my predicament. BMW's motorsports department does make custom cut gears I think 5.13 as well as 5.5 or 5.4. Downside is that it's $1,800 plus shipping and import fees for just the ring and pinion. The plan of attack is to try this lower gearing, so that way I don't have to slip the clutch as much in first gear, and if I like that, then commit to the extra several $1,000s to retrofit the car for street driving. The real problem was the oil that got all over it, but slipping the clutch is going to fuck it up over time. We'll swap these in real quick, see how this treats us. The bigger gear on top is going to the diff. The smaller one being on the bottom is going to transmission. The engine and transmission will spin even more now to spin the rear diff.
Oh, that was nice.
So they definitely love to go in together at the same time. Oh, was that it? That was it. Well, this heat may make me die a sweet, sweet death. Until then, there's still work to be done. And it's as simple as this. Watch this rear tire. That's the tow bar. Isn't loose, it's spinning. There's a clockwise and counterclockwise thread, so you can loosen and unloosen it just by rotating it. And then there's lock washers or lock nuts, which are not on there. So it was definitely some slop in here. Not only is it not adjusted properly, that's the center of the Heim joints gone. Nobody looked on that side, so maybe that wheel's got the same problem. Similar, but that's actually a different problem. That's why I let off on the street. Fucking car was turning on me. Wow. That would have got me killed at high speeds. Somehow, this is not meant for this. We found a sleeve that will fit this perfectly. This is not gonna be production quality, like go top speed stuff. I don't trust whatever's going on here. We pushed it in there, that's how tight of a fit it is. This is a reverse thread. You go clockwise to loosen it. It's kind of crazy. Get this back in, and at least get the toe to stop moving.
That's way off.
Well, shit. I cleared it out at least. But something really bad's happening. In the sense of simple mistakes turning into huge problems, the IMAP sensor, the pressure sensor, looped down and got crushed inside the top side of the bell housing. It's a simple mistake, just has massive repercussions when it's on this car. And so we live, we learn, ECU should be fine. Let's go ahead and fire this up, get it out of there, and test this whole thing out. I'm so ready to test this rear diff. I love that gearing already. Oh my God. Do you notice I wasn't, I mean, we have the slightly heavier flywheel on there. She just feels more right.
Normal.
Oh yeah, normal. Just, and that's the worst word. That's the worst word to use is normal, because it feels good. It feels like more tame, but it's not at all. Oh my God. Oh my God. That is epic. What do you guys think? Did you guys like that?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I could tell you didn't want to get out.
Yeah. So to explain what just happened is that the car is actually really cold, but I wanted to get the shot in by tonight. So she went a little lean. So I was holding it, but it wasn't too happy with that. So if you can hear it was popping a little bit. We're still okay. Clutch is solid. The gearing is perfect. I mean, I know this car. I know it even more now. It almost feels like the 3-rotor dipped in like the toxic ooze from like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sequence, you know, where like they turn into Super Shredder and shit like that. It's recognizable again. I can feel the power band in the gear, everything all right in one spot. It is, that was probably 10% throttle. It's even nastier than it was before. But I'm loving the gearing. I'm loving the power. We got to add more fuel and go back to dyno. Now that we've got traction, that means that we have more load per cell. So if it's at 0 pounds of boost, it's actually putting down more power because it's hooked, it's not burning out. Let's get some numbers. How about that? That's epic. That was our 1,000 horsepower run. Here, Chris, back that one up a little bit. Chris,
Yes.
back up a little bit. Even those guys can only see my nose. So that was 1,025. That was a clean pull all the way up to 8,500 RPM. I'm gonna pause for a second, review the numbers.